what is electrostatics? Yeah, what electrical engineers are talking about when they say charge is a fundamental property of matter. Yeah, it's a fundamental property, just like mass. For example, every object has a mass. This charge, it causes or it leads or it is the source for electric field. Physics, you would have extensively studied about the gravitational field. Gravitation is a force field, isn't it? So when I have an object here, it's going to fall by itself if I don't hold it and rest. Why is it so? Because the force is acting on it. And what force is acting on it? The force of gravity. So it's the force of gravity that is pulling it down. Similarly, when you're having a charge, there is going to be a force field around it. And that force field is what we call as electric field. Now, how is this force field going to behave? Depends on the charge that is going to cause that force field to be present in the first place. So what is the cause? Charge, the fundamental property is the cause. What is the effect? The electric field around the charge. There are two kinds of charge. One is a positive charge and another one is a negative charge, what we know as plus and minus. If the number of plus and minus are the same, then the object is said to be neutrally charged. And another interesting property is like charges, they repel each other. That means if you bring in, for example, if you were to hang a rubber rod like this, where this rubber rod, see how to make it negatively charged. You can essentially wrap that rubber with silk cloth and make it gain electrons, so it becomes negatively charged. When it becomes negatively charged, and when you have this glass rod which is positively charged, when you bring it close to this rubber, naturally the rubber starts to move towards the rod. There is something that is acting on it to get attracted to this glass rod. So that thing is going to be a force, isn't it? So that force is something like out of nowhere seems to appear, and that would have made people to wonder what kind of force that is. Turns out that that force is called the electric field. Since this rod is negatively charged and this rod is positively charged, they attract each other. If this rubber, again a negatively charged rubber body, is brought close to another negatively charged rubber, then they are going to be repelling each other. So you can see here the glass is positively charged, meaning that it's easy for glass to lose electrons. Whereas for rubber, it's easy for rubber to gain electrons. It's the natural property of that material. So it's easy to do that. Yeah, when you have friction on a piece of glass and bring it up, glass rod, then it's going to have lost its electrons. So it's said to be positively charged. So that's pretty much about like charges and unlike charges attracting and repelling each other. In a closed system, the total electric charge is always conserved. What do we mean by closed system? That means may encompass the entire universe, for example, right? Ever since the Big Bang happened, the number of positive charge in the universe is equal to the number of negative charges in the universe. Yeah, there has been nothing that can create charge. Yeah, it's just that certain objects sometimes they lose certain charges, but does that means that some other object in its vicinity, in its surrounding, is gaining that charge? So then the charge gets transferred back. Yeah, so essentially that's what how a battery even operates. So charge can be transferred from one body to another, but it cannot be created. Charge cannot be created. It can be only transferred from one body to another. So the smallest unit of charge that we know is that of an electron, which is negative. Electron is negatively charged, or a proton, which is positively charged. But the value, the magnitude of it is the same. Proton is positively charged. The value of the charge is what you see here, 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19. So for an electron, it's 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 C. What is C? We will see it's called as a coulomb. It's the measure. It's a unit to measure charge.